we're actually using Restream, which offers us a little bit more interaction with every one of you. I hope you hear me okay. I hope you'll see us okay as well. I have with me Zendra Kubota, who's been with Nucamp for quite a while now. Hey, Zendra. Joining us from not quite sunny Hawaii, but very soon. I mean, the sun is going up pretty shortly, I think. It's great to have you here. All right, I can see everyone is chiming in, so it looks like it's working. You can all hear us? Perfect. This is great. All right, so, and I'm Ludo, by the way, Chief Executive Officer of Nucamp, founder as well. And today we're going to walk you through what it is to be a Nucamp student, how we compare with other coding bootcamps out there. And we're going to walk you through some slides for about 30 minutes. The remaining 30 minutes, we're going to answer your questions live. So we have the questions here. We can see them, Zendra and myself. You are chatting with us. You can actually maybe see them as well, or maybe not. But we'll be actually going through those questions in 30 minutes. And so type them on the chat in YouTube or Facebook, because we are streaming to Facebook as well. And we'll get to those questions in about 30 minutes. All right, so the very first question you may be asking yourself is, what is Nucamp? You probably have seen us maybe through our ads or online, or people have mentioned Nucamp to you, and then you may wonder, okay, what are you standing for? What is it about? So we really were created 5 years ago, and with a very strong social mission at the heart of it all, I will say. You'll see that through our presentation. Of course, our tuition, our price point screams, I will say, social mission in how affordable we've been able to actually provide a coding bootcamp experience. But beyond the tuition, I will say, we really want to be everywhere you are located. We early on realized that for many of you, you actually may live too far away from the nearest coding bootcamp. If you're not in one of the top 15 cities in the US, chances are you do not have a coding bootcamp very close to where you live. And so we are available in 180 cities. Of course, with COVID, that has changed a little bit, but really we aspire to be very much where you are in your own community. I mentioned it, we are still the most affordable, local and flexible coding bootcamp out there. We have plenty of financing options, but basically our tuition, under $2,000, you probably won't find lower tuition price out there. And then we are a top rated number one. Actually, we're the most rated by graduates. And in terms of actual number of ratings, we are in the top 3. And we've been growing quite rapidly as well. So it's not because we offer a low tuition that the quality is subpar. Actually, quite the contrary. Our students are pretty pleased with the quality of what we have to offer. And we'll get to that in a minute as well. All right, so you're in the market to learn to code and change careers, and you wonder, okay, how should I think about Nucamp compared to everything else? And so this slide is really for you to kind of give you an idea of, when you think about where you want to go, what you want to do. Most of you are actually going to evaluate joining an online bootcamp. What I mean by that is, Coursera, edX, Udemy, Udacity. There's a ton of options out there that are 100% online, most of the time without really instructor or someone to support you throughout your journey. But they offer the most affordable option. You could actually get 200 worth of content for like $15 on Udacity or Udemy, for example. So these are the really great options for someone who's interested in getting started, also interested in figuring out, is it something that you like? Is it something that's for you? Is it something that you enjoy learning and doing? As I mentioned, it's super cheap. $15 can get you really very far. But the flip side of that is very often it comes with little to no support. And that's a challenge because without the support of a community, without the support of an instructor, a mentor, a tutor, what we are seeing is only 3% of students who start an online coding bootcamp actually finish it. And so, as I said, great to get started, very affordable, but oftentimes you're going to really be looking for additional support to get you through the journey. And so when that happens, what you'll be probably looking into is what I will call more traditional coding bootcamps. And more traditional coding bootcamps are very much, schools, very similar to college, where you're going to have a campus, you're going to be full-time, completely immersed. That's going to actually give you a great experience in a way that you're going to be learning and coding probably from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Every day of the week. And that's going to really help you, that could really help you accomplish your journey to become a web developer and really learning how to code. So that's the upside of what I would call traditional coding bootcamps. The downside is, well, with COVID, most of them are actually not on campus, not in person. So you miss all that. And then those traditional coding bootcamps are very much expensive. Typically, they're going to cost you between $10, $15, sometimes $30,000, and they're not going to be available everywhere. They're not in every city. You could actually be 40 miles away from one, which will be a challenge. But what we see people really telling us most of the time is, well, it's a big risk. It's a big bet. If you really want to leverage all the benefits of traditional coding bootcamps, you're going to want to do it full time, which means, well, what if I already have a job? What if I have a job that pays the bills? You will need to quit that job, and then you will have to find the money to fund or finance that coding bootcamp. And so it's potentially a great experience, not so great because of COVID, because you don't have the in-person element, but it's a big risk. And that's not something actually most people that we talk to are actually willing to do. They're not willing to make that risk. And I'm looking at all the chat questions here. That's great. Keep asking those questions. Questions about, when are we going to be back in person in Washington State? We'll get to those questions in about 20 minutes now. So keep going at it. And so that's pretty much online coding bootcamps on one hand, traditional bootcamps on the other hand. There's pros and cons to both. And so what did we do? Well, we looked at bringing those two together. We thought about Nucamp as the best of online in terms of affordability, flexibility. You can do it from everywhere in the US, and the best of traditional in terms of support, in terms of immersion, in terms of experience, but without the risk of having to quit your job, without the risk of having to finance a big amount to actually attend the coding bootcamp. And so that's Nucamp. We are very affordable, as I said, the most affordable out there. Great support from top instructors in the US, across the US, part-time, so that you don't have to quit your job. And so think about us this way, right? The best of both worlds in a way. Oh, and I just realized we did not update our logo on that slide. So this was our previous logo. We're going to do that right after this call.
Back.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, a little bit of history. We started in 2017 in Washington State. We've had the pleasure to help 7,000 students. We launched 1,500 of those. So even though you may not have heard too much about us, we've actually done quite a bit already. And one of the reasons why you may not have heard about us as much as other coding bootcamps is we're still kind of a mom and pop shop. We're not very much heavily funded by private equity or Wall Street. So you don't see the headlines, Nucamp raised $50 million, that type of things. And so, we're very proud of that fact, actually, that we're kind of the bootcamp for the people, I will say. And yet, even despite the lack of funding, we've been able to grow and achieve outstanding student satisfaction on Course Report. We're on the verge, actually, of being the number one rated on Course Report, believe it or not. We're still the most rated across everything, including Career Karma. So yeah, that's pretty much our history so far. And what we really aim to provide you is, I would say, the full package. It's not just about learning to code through a series of boot camps, but it's also ending on career development services that are going to make sure that you do get that job in the industry that you've been seeking. And we'll talk about that in a little bit with Zendra, actually. Mm-hmm. We have three main boot camps, and really three boot camps that are tailored to your level of knowledge. So if you're a complete beginner, you're going to start with our 4 weeks bootcamp, what we call the Web Development Fundamentals. And if you're not, you can actually jump straight into the front end or the full stack. Now, don't be mistaken, you don't have to do both front end and full stack, because actually full stack includes front end. And Zendra will get into those details pretty soon. So yeah, start with the Web Development Fundamentals if you don't know anything about coding, or learn online. And then we have a test that allows you to actually branch directly into front end or full stack. I've seen questions about financing. So we have a plethora, I will say, of financing options. Now think about that. The base price is less than $2,000. So when we talk about financing for like 12 or 18 months, we can actually go down to like $10 a month. And the total cost of financing is maximum, I think, $400. So the worse credit score, the longer period that you take, the more it's going to cost you on top of the main tuition is going to be maybe $400. So super interesting financing options. So we have our base deal, which is pretty much a payment plan. You can pay in 4 or 5 times, and there's no added interest to it. So the price is a price, I will say. You have then 2 options for financing your bootcamp. You can pay instead of paying for 12 on 5 months, 5 months, I will say, you can pay in 12 or 18 months. And so you see here for the front end bootcamp, it's going to be about $90 to $130 a month. Or we have what we call the most flexible, which means you're going to pay very little while you're learning. So like $8, $10, $16 a month. And once you've graduated, you're going to pay a little more. So $90 or $130, depending on how many months actually you want to take in terms of repayment. So go check that out. Oh, let me try something. So I can actually overlay. There we go. Go check that out. Isn't it cool? Nucamp.co/financing. You find all the details there. And we actually have a lending partner called Climb Credit that will be offering the student loan options of our Fair Student Agreement. All right. That worked.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Our curriculum and format, well, we are part-time, which means that we can really work around your busy schedule. And that's a big deal. So during the week, and by week, I mean from Sunday to Friday, you learn at your own schedule. Now, you have a pretty strong guidance. Like we tell you what we expect from you on a daily basis, but you can squeeze that time, and it's going to be between 2 to 5 hours, depending on where you are in the bootcamp. You can squeeze that time at whenever is actually the best for you. So if you're working shifts, you can do that at night. If you're working 9 to 5, you can do that in the evening. If you have a break at noon, you can use that time as well. So think about that. Super flexible during the week, but with a very strong structure though, and always support from the community and your instructor. And then on Saturday morning, that's kind of the non-negotiable. We expect you to be there from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in a specific time zone to actually go through a workshop with your classmates and your instructor. And that's where you're going to really be challenged to apply all your learnings. You're going to have tons of questions, which is why we want you to be live with your instructor so that we can help you live on those questions. And this is the moment where everything, I would say, is gelling. Everything really is coming together. You're hands-on. You've been hands-on during the week as well, but we kind of, we take you by the hand so that the level of challenge is bearable. On Saturday, it's really the most challenging moment where you're starting with a blank piece of paper, as we like to say, and you have to create a piece of code that's kind of unique. And then it's rinse and repeat. Every Saturday, we do that. Nucamp will not be what it is without our instructors. And we're extremely proud of the instructor that join us, because when they do it mainly for one reason. And it's not money, it's passion. It's passion and wanting to give back. It's not money, even though they're compensated, because they actually don't need the extra money most of the time. They are full-time professionals in the industry who teach with us on the side. It's a side gig for them. And they do that because they want to help their local community. They do that because they're passionate people and they want to give back. And so if you read our feedback online from students, that's the number one thing that they actually say. They actually very often name their instructor and say, hey, that person was great and really was there for me, etc. So we're very, very happy and blessed to have those instructors who come from diverse backgrounds. You learn from them in terms of, what does it mean to work at a startup? What does it mean to work in a top 500 company and things like that? And that was my portion of the presentation. Zenra, welcome again. The sun is coming and shining very soon. I can see in your background. Um, you want to take us through those additional slides here?
Real okay. So, thank you so much, Ludo. You mentioned about the fundamentals course that's coming up shortly next month, and you're gonna dive into JavaScript. If you have never used JavaScript before, in weeks 3 and 4, you're gonna be jumping into JavaScript. And I've seen some questions about the fundamentals. Again, as a reminder for those who just joined, we're gonna get to your questions in a little bit at the end. And JavaScript is pretty much the king right now if you're in web development. You're no matter what other languages you might be writing in, if you're dealing with web, you're going to run into JavaScript in some shape or form. So that's why we prepare you to start in that language. The average salary across the country about 70K. Again, that's average, so that's not saying you're going to get exactly that. Be somewhere around that, depending on where you live, depending on what company you work at, and depending on your other life experience, if it's valuable to the company. It's going to be somewhere around there. And also, we have a pretty good blog article about getting a job after Nucamp. So check out our website for that. All right, and now the fundamentals course is really kind of exciting. For some of you, it's going to be your first kind of dipping your toe into uh, coding, and you're going to start with HTML, which is a markup language. You're going to learn how to build the structure. I always do a little analogy for those who are new to coding. HTML is kind of the frame of the house, the wall studs, the foundation, the roof. CSS, which you kind of can see there, might be tiny on your screen if you're on mobile or something. It says a 3, CSS 3. That's the standard, the current standard. So CSS is the styling, like the paint, the carpet, the drapes of the web page, so to speak. And then you add in your JavaScript. That's the HVAC. That's the plumbing. That's the electricity. That's what you uh, used to kind of actuate the house and makes it actually do stuff. That's fundamentals in 4 weeks. And if any of that sounded completely new, that's probably where you want to sign up for. Bootstrap, you'll be moving on. This is the first section of the front end course and the full stack course. So they don't diverge yet. Bootstrap is going to make your page responsive. That is, it's going to respond to whatever container it's put in. If it's on a little phone, it'll automatically resize itself to the phone display. If it's on a tablet, it'll expand to fill the tablet. It'll respond to the container that it's being viewed in. And Bootstrap is a little bit of a shorthand. Without that CSS foundation that you get in fundamentals, you might struggle a bit there. So definitely think about the fundamentals. Then you'll move on to React. And React is a web framework that helps you build large sites. You can have hundreds, thousands of pages. And it's the most popular JavaScript framework out there now. I know Ludo's the Angular guy. Angular is still hanging in there strong, but React, if you are in another browser tab and you're looking at LinkedIn or Indeed for jobs and you type in React JavaScript as a keyword search for jobs, you will see a lot pop up. So we try to prepare our students for that with some of the most popular tools. Next is React Native. After you finish React, you'll get into React Native. And by this time, you'll be like, oh, once you hit the middle of React, you'll kind of be a little shell shocked, like, wow, this is kind of, I don't know, this is kind of deep here. But then it'll kind of start to gel. It's kind of like when you get a new job and you don't know what's going on, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this job. But then after, a few weeks, a couple of months, a year, you're like, oh, I got this job and I'm training the next person behind me on top of that. So don't be scared to be pushed outside of your comfort zone with React. It will come together if you don't give up. And React Native is going to help you to give up and to help you to gel everything together. React Native is going to kind of help you understand React a little bit better. Um, so React Native is developing for cross-platform mobile. You can write apps in React Native for iOS, for Android, for Windows. It's a really powerful tool, and it's in demand. Now, here's where the two courses will diverge: the front end and the full stack courses. You can graduate here from front end, or you can stay with us for a little bit of extra training in Node.js. So that will be your back end JavaScripting. And using Node on the back end has gotten a lot more popular. Node JavaScript in general is a lot more popular. Maybe like years ago, if anyone would have said you're using JavaScript on the back end, they would have just laughed at you like, what are you doing? You're making poor life choices. But now it's ubiquitous. So we're going to teach you that. And you're going to have authenticated sessions. You're going to have your own apps with people logging in to your app with a password, having their own, profile picture, or having that session stored. So it's a really good way to learn. You're going to learn about databases and the kind of the guts and the wires, the back end side of your apps. That's about it. And in accord with that, you'll see some things that our students have built after learning all these things. So Ludo is going to select one of these and show you some of the things that our students have built. You can also view this later on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you, Zandra. So, students are taught in our boot camps following what we call a learning project. And it's the same project for everyone for learning purposes. But then, from the very first week of your boot camp, we ask you to work on your own project. And there's a ton of creative people out there that are working on really impressive projects. And so, for a while now, we started to publish those projects online on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, you're not very far. Let me share this with you. So this is our channel on YouTube, the Nucamp channel. By the way, I saw a question: is this going to be recorded? Yes, it's actually recorded automatically by YouTube, and you'll actually be able to see this broadcast here recorded after the fact. So, but we're talking about the projects. So we have an actual playlist of projects right here, and so what I like to show typically is, there's we have 38. We actually have more to publish.
Now you have so many to choose from.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty already cool. I love to show that one um, because it's visually not so impressive, but what's happening in the background is quite impressive. So it's a chess game. So when I say visually not impressive, it's just because a chess game is a chess game. But that students in particular used and spend a lot of time on the back end to make that chess game playable online in real time. And so simple interface here, and then at some point, I know he's bringing an opponent. There we go. There we go. So this will allow me to see any moves that are made here. There we go. So you can see that one's pretty cool. There are so this one is very much like back end and front end focused. This one is interesting because it was well in the middle of COVID, obviously, and it's kind of a pun on what was happening out there. And it's an actual app. It's a mobile app, right? It's a mobile app using React Native that Zendra mentioned, and this is where you can really branch out from building websites to building mobile apps, and that's pretty exciting. This one, from a visual standpoint, is kind of breathtaking, I would say. It's a Pokemon game, very well designed. So anyway, I'll
A lot
let
of
you
work.
actually, yeah, I'll let you actually look through those. But these are typically the projects that you're going to showcase at the end of the bootcamp, and that will for sure catch the attention of a hiring manager. So we're looking forward to what you're going to build.
Yeah, awesome. So you now might be thinking, which one should I sign up for? And we'll get into that. And when do you want to sign up? So don't worry if it looks like things are full in your area. I mean, now with COVID, we have not only some online courses, but everybody's using online for the workshops. So you could register in your somewhere in your zip code. If you want to stay in your community, you can register in a different time zone. If you're you know good with keeping managing your time zones, but you probably want to register in your city or your region. We have the different regions delineated there, Pacific and Central and Eastern. So the next early bird date discount deadline is Monday, April 5th. So you might want to put that in your phone, have a reminder pop up. Hey, today's the last day. If you're like me and you forget stuff. Yeah. Anything you'd like to add on, Ludo? Jump in anytime. Okay, and scholarships. We have some already questions in the chat about financial aid, so you might want to perk up your ears. Go to nucamp.co/scholarships. You can see we have quite a few there. One for those who were really impacted by the stores that us technologists love, Best Buy and Fry's, really near and dear to um, a lot of new campers' hearts, I'm sure. Best Buy, in particular, we have a little something for them. The New You Scholarship, if you've been recently turned down for an educational loan within the past year, you want to click on that. Warrior Rising Scholarship covers veterans and active duty members, and also the Reskill America Scholarship. It covers those affected adversely by COVID-19 and offers a laptop also to help you get started. So definitely click on those, read the details. There's detailed steps there how you can get that. And Ludo touched on this a bit earlier, the career stuff. So we have a career services page at our website. It lists all of this great stuff. Somebody asked me 2 days ago, what's the difference between, online um, free resources and Nucamp? And this is one of the huge differences. Uh, we help you with your career search. We help you to get a job. We help you to uh, have a coaching session with a career advisor. We have our own exclusive job board that you'll be able to see companies that have sought out Nucamp in order to seek their graduates for the positions that they have open. So that's huge. We also help you with your resume, your GitHub profile, your LinkedIn profile. You get 1 month free of LinkedIn Premium, which will help you with that. Really important networking. And we have a career development program. It's kind of like a lesson, it's like a course within a course almost. And you have also lifetime access to the material, which is great. If you get a job and there's a new feature in React, you can go back. Let me log into Nucamp and see if they've updated the content about this new React feature. So you have lifetime access to the community and the content at Nucamp. Sweet. This is pretty good. Luda, did you want to talk about these great success stories? I'm sure you're
Yeah, of course.
all of them.
Well, obviously, many of you will be joining New Camp because you're seeking a different career, and you wanna try really that career in the software engineering or web development. So there's we have stories, many stories that we're sharing on our website, New Careers, of past graduates who got a job. Most of them got a job after the bootcamp. A couple actually got a job during the bootcamp. But there's really a lot of inspiring stories out there of people who really, after joining and doing the work and persevering in their search, made it through. So it's not an exception; it's more of a rule. And so I encourage you to go check them out. We're adding more stories every week, actually. So we pretty much increased our marketing expense to make sure that we will actually interview all those graduates and share those stories back with you. Because that's really quite important for you to kind of envision yourself and follow the tracks of someone who has been able to do it successfully. So check them out, slash new careers on Nucamp. And as I said, we're trying to add more stories every week. We are pretty much contacting back all our graduates who shared with us that their success and having an interview with them. So it's very enlightening and it's very rewarding as well to do that.
Awesome.
All right. And this is the moment where we actually, as promised, we switch back from a presentation of New Camp to your questions. And so let's do this. Boom. Here we
Do
are.
it.
I'm gonna switch. Look at that. It's pretty cool. I love this. All right. So, Zandra, can you actually select one of the questions yourself, or am I the only one able to do that?
Let me see. Nope, I think you're the boss there.
All right. So,
But I
let
can
me.
go back to my YouTube tab, which is still open.
Okay. So let me. Let me pick that question from, and we're going to go from the top to the bottom, and hopefully we'll get through all of them. Continue to ask your questions if you haven't done so already. Great question regarding, well, is web development fundamental included in full stack or not? Or do you have to take that separately? The answer is it is separate. It is two different bootcamps that you have to register to separately. Some people actually make the mistake of registering directly to full stack, thinking they're also going to get the 4 weeks introduction, and they don't. So yeah, you have to separate. You have to register separately.
Mhm.
Let me also grab that one up, and that's going to cover other questions around when are we going to be back with our in-person Saturday workshops. So this question is for the state of Washington, but the answer actually applies to everywhere in the US. Our current plan is to open back in person in the fall, so around the September timeframe. The reason for that is we're not quite sure yet where we are in terms of the COVID situation. I'm reading right now that a fourth wave is starting, definitely happening in Europe right now. Like France is actually on the lockdown again for a month. So things are looking up, obviously, but we want to be very certain that we're not going to create any risk for our instructors as well as students. So right now, our plan is the fall. All right. Do you see another question that I could actually pop up,
Yeah,
Sandra?
I see one closer to the beginning. Let's see. I'm older and not the greatest with computers. I'm first baby on YouTube.
Uh,
There's also JARP. Do you guys offer financial aid on YouTube?
there we go. I couldn't find the other one.
Uh,
There we go. You want to take that one?
yep, we do. We got into that a little bit with the with the scholarships. So we do give you a portion off uh, the tuition. The scholarships will handle a lot of times the last payment. Um, we also have a financing solution, a, two financing solutions with our partner Climate Credit, and we have it kind of set to be as available to as many students from as many financial backgrounds as we possibly can. So check out our website and click on financing or click on the scholarships.
Thank you. I'll take that one. So, can I register to full stack after finishing the 4 weeks introduction or web development fundamentals bootcamp? Yes, that's really the intent. It's really to prepare you, if you don't have the knowledge yet, to really prepare you to register to full stack. And you'll see, you should actually take the test that we have before you register to full stack. And I'll actually pop the link here. Take that test now if you're still a complete beginner. Go through the 4 weeks boot camp and then take the test again, and you'll see that, oh, all of a sudden you're going to pass. So that's really the intent, is to prepare you for that. Um, how about this one, Zandra? You want to take that question from Antoine?
Yep, Saturdays, right. So, Ludo, you answered this beautifully a few open houses ago, and I still refer people to the link. Um, but we understand that you have Saturday commitments. Um, we we do sometimes, we recommend that you can try to register in a different time zone, so that way your class will start earlier or later, if at all possible. If it helps, sometimes it only helps by 2 or 3 hours, so it's not an option. But missing the workshops is really going to be big. That is a large, large chunk of the course, and it's not a lecture. It's a hands-on workshop. So it's missing it is you're missing out on that instructor support. You're missing out on a lot of coding that takes place. You still have to turn in the assignment from the workshop, and it is going to be harder to do it all on your own. So try not to miss those.
Great, thank you. I'll take that one from New and UN. If we want to get into blockchain, do these courses help? The short answer is no, probably not. I'm dying to learn more about coding on the blockchain myself. But yeah, I mean, you may be using JavaScript. I actually don't know. I haven't looked into that, but I will bet that it doesn't help that much. Our bootcamps are very much focused on building uh, websites, mobile apps, the front end, the back end of it, the blockchain elements. We don't really touch on that.
Sure thing. Okay, hit me
All
with
right.
another one, Ludo.
Yes, I'm looking. Oh, interesting one.
Oh, career support. Ooh, for students outside the U.S. Well, we do focus on the U.S. job market.
Yeah,
So, but I was just watching a YouTube seminar 2 days ago about kind of uh, breaking into web development um, in European context. So it could be similar for Canada. Um, we're definitely gonna still keep our U.S. focus because that's where the bulk of the students are for now. Um, but your career coach is gonna work with you individually.
yeah,
So um, they might be able to help you and see what you're seeing on these LinkedIn searches. You'll be able to share your screen and say, "Hey, this is what I'm seeing when I do the search." You'll be able to talk to them about your who you're targeting, and you can still focus on the technical side because that's not really gonna change too much. Interview prep and that sort of thing is not going to really change too much. So you'll still have that one-on-one FaceTime with a coach.
correct. Um, I'll take that one. So right now, Saturday sessions are online. So that's actually, you don't really have to make a decision whether you want to be in person or online because they are online right now. And as I mentioned, we're planning to go back to in person in the fall. And what we encourage you to do, depending when you start, um, is to register in your city, because right now you have the option of registering in your city or directly to an online community. If you register to your city, then we know you live there, and we could actually down the line, I mean in the fall, we could make sure that you're back to an in-person setting if that works for you. This one, that's a great question from Job. I don't know how you would pronounce that.
I think you
Why
did a
is
good
the
job.
price? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Why are the prices so low? Well, I'll return the question. Why are the other prices so high? There's for me something incredible that the market, the industry have been able to convince people that the fair price is an outrageously expensive price. There's no real reason why you will have to pay $15,000 or $30,000 for a 3 month education or 4 months education. I don't understand how we've all been convinced that that's the fair price or the right price. It's not. And we're proving it every day. It's not. So why aren't the other prices so low? That's my question, actually. And it does take a lot of work and effort. Well, it took Nucamp and myself the intent of starting with that low price and building everything else around that intent. Um, I did an interview recently online that explains really how the type of trade-offs you have to make, but it's never a trade-off on quality. It's a trade-off, for example, on are you going to deliver a full-time bootcamp experience? And when I mean full-time, I mean in person, or are you going to do it part-time? Because obviously, full-time in person requires you to have a campus, requires you to have staff, full-time staff locally, and the cost is bubbling up. Now, it's still some in some situations don't justify the $30,000 price tag, but everyone is online right now, and when you're doing a full-time bootcamp, you're not really full-time with the full-time staff. You have 1 hour of a mentor every week. That's not full time. And so I personally have a really hard time justifying how other coding bootcamp can be charging $15,000, $30,000 for what. I mean, I'm running a business that doesn't cost as nearly as that expensive, that amount. So yeah, thanks for asking the question. That's I'm very passionate about that one.
Yeah, and I didn't want to forget the other question that I
Yeah.
highlighted about being older.
Yeah, you want to take that one?
Just even though you don't put it up, it's okay if you're older. It's your own ability, your own aptitude for technology. If you're someone who has loved technology for a long time, and you've always, you take things apart, you unscrew your phone and all that kind of stuff. You're a tinkerer, and you like software. You have a leaning towards that. Then that's a good sign. But definitely try the fundamentals first, and if you're not sure, that's way you don't spend a lot of money and jump in. Even if you kind of already know a little bit of JavaScript, you might want to try the fundamentals first and just see you know, if you really like the course, if you like the pace, Nucamp style. Just try it first and see if you like it.
Yeah, so there's a ton of questions. I've just scrolled down. So we're going to cover questions that I feel have not been answered yet in the slides or through other questions. So one of those is this one. How are the instructors involved throughout the week, Slack only, or is there any video conference calls? So instructors are available roughly 1 hour a day. That's what we ask of them. And they're available on Slack. Some will actually do one-on-one live sessions with you when you're really stuck. Uh, but the time of that will vary depending on their availabilities. So throughout the week, you really have support through your instructor, your classmates on Slack. You also have access to the broader community on Slack. And so think about it this way: you are in a support structure of one instructor, 12 students. That's your group. Those are the people that you're going to really go through that journey with. But there are many of those groups starting at the same time that you are. And so you don't really have just the support of 12 people and an instructor. You have the support of maybe 100, 200 people that are going through this exact same thing, and 10 instructors or 15 instructors that are going through the exact same thing. And so you could actually find that another instructor, which may not be yours, is helping you out, and vice versa. So that's kind of the support system that we have during the week. All right. A lot of people commenting on their JavaScript skills. Yes, that's something that is super important to build. All right, let's take this one. You want to take that one, maybe, Zandra?
The
Relationship with
relationship.
interested employers, and the job board that we have.
Right. Yep. Ludo is working really hard, and the core team in reaching out to companies that might not have yet heard about us, and they are reaching out and getting those positions, getting those job postings, getting those employers uh, to get to know our students and see that they can really thrive and fill the positions that they have open. So structured opportunities, I believe that might be the one that you just posted yesterday in the Slack, Ludo.
Uh, yes,
Or if you're
that
not able
one.
to
It's a
mention.
pilot. I don't know. Well, we can, maybe someone. Well, I don't know that anyone will like it, but we are actually just starting a pilot with Accenture, and it's actually a big deal. Accenture is number one or number two. I think we have Deloitte out there, and then Accenture in terms of consulting company. 500,000 employees worldwide. Can you believe that? And so we're just starting to take applicants for their apprenticeship. So
Mhm.
big deal. And we're working on more things like that. Um, I'll take that one. Are you still taking the stimulus as full payment? This one was really interesting. We don't, because we only had 20 slots available and they went very fast. So there's huge demand out there to leverage that stimulus money. Uh, I know for some people it's completely out of the question. That stimulus money was really needed for I would say fundamental needs of being able to afford food and your house payments and things like that. So we'll think about something similar in the future, but for now it's actually all 20 slots have been used.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say for Kitsune Miko, the link to the Fair Student Agreement, just go to our website, click on.
Let me actually put it up. There we go.
Okay, nice. Yeah, financing. Um,
Yeah.
and Saturday, Ray B, just in case you didn't get, the Saturdays are not in person at the moment.
Yeah.
So everything is via video conference on Saturdays.
I'm trying to find my way.
And is
So
Bootstrap
job.
like
Yeah, go ahead.
Flexbox? Oh, pretty good. Good answers. I see you guys already helping each other out.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
cool.
that's pretty awesome. Yes.
So JARP,
Bootstrap.
you do get a certificate when you graduate. You actually have one for front end, one for full stack. We also have a honor program that will allow selected students, people who want to go above and beyond, to differentiate themselves even further. Um, so there's a few questions about, I mean, what do I need to do before registering to full stack? Take this test here. This is a JavaScript test. If you score 85% or above, you are ready to register for full stack or front end. So 85% score on this test, and you will be ready to register for full stack or front end. We remind you of that URL and that test at the time of registration as well, so you can go there.
I think
Okay, yeah,
Chloe Zhang, we probably answered your question already. It was way back at the top, but
yeah.
career work search services interview prep. You can ask your career coach, hey, I want to practice for an interview. And also, we have modules on the personal interview. Tell me about yourself and things like that. It may have been a while since you last were job hunting on a really high level. There's a lot of stuff in our career prep course that will help you with preparing for interviews. And you also have your career coach session that you can prep for interviews.
This one regarding again the weekend sessions, these are really critical sessions, but we do obviously understand that sometimes, especially when you register to full stack, it's a 22 weekend bootcamp. You may actually have to miss one or two. Um, it doesn't necessarily have an impact on your progression as long as you work on your assignment and you publish your assignment for grading. If you can do that, and you have to do that, I will say, then it's okay. What you're going to miss is really the support that you get during those sessions from your instructor and your fellow students to actually work on that assignment. Which is also why we really recommend you to plan ahead and not miss more than 3 of those sessions, I will say. I'll take Michael. Can you still obtain a job without an IT background? All our stories that we publish on career services, new careers is the URL. Those people actually did not have IT background. There's someone making a mention of um, the lady who actually was working for Disney. She was a janitor at Disney, and she made it through. And actually, she got a job before graduating. Like the best story ever. Um, so yeah, you can absolutely do that. That happens. All right.
Yeah, I would say start preparing now.
Yeah.
Definitely start looking at companies you that operate in industries where you do have a background. So if I always use the illustration, if you're an accountant, start right now listing up companies that are in the finance accounting space. Like you would apply for developer jobs at like Fidelity or something like that, just to use whatever little background you do have in your favor.
All right. Erika is asking, what are the options left for people who don't qualify for the fair student payment options? And that happens quite often because some of those options, actually two of those options, are regulated student loans, and they, like every loan, they go through not background check, but credit check. And so if you have a bankruptcy in the last 5 years, you're going to be denied. We don't actually deny based on credit score. Like we accept all credit score, but sometimes the delinquencies and bankruptcies are kind of disqualifying you. So what are the options then? Well, we offer our actually best financing option. And I mean best because it's the least expensive with no interest, meaning you can pay the tuition on a monthly payment plan, and roughly it's going to be $350 a month. Now, on top of that, because you've been denied access to the student loan, we have a scholarship that removes one of those payments. So that's what we've actually tried to figure out for you. Um, you will have to pay a roughly 350 scholarship tuition payment monthly, and then you'll have access to the scholarship as well. We have 4 minutes left. Zandra, very active chat today. And I'm kind of lost in trying to find the right
That went
one. But
really fast.
yeah, do you have one
I
that you'd like to take?
I saw one about most people who are requiring 3 to 5 years of experience. How does Nucamp help us with that? Please don't take that as a baseline. Like if it says 3 to 5 years experience, you absolutely cannot apply to it. Sometimes they specify that that's the minimum qualifications required. Then maybe you want to pause before you apply to that. But most of the time, it's just a wish list that employers have. That their dream candidate has all these, unrealistic, level of qualifications that they, their dream candidate that they're looking for. You can still apply even though you have less experience than they ask for,
Whoops.
and you should apply.
I have this one working on my
New one,
keyboard. All right, I have
cat
another
in my
one here.
ear. Very cute.
Yeah, working on the keyboards. Okay,
Wow.
I was a casino dealer and supervisor. How would I use that to help me? It's a great question. And actually, I taught myself to someone in Tacoma who was exactly in that situation. And I think he's a UX designer now. So you can use that because you're going to talk to that industry at large, and you're going to talk to their IT departments. And you're going to say, not only do I have the skills to build a website, but I understand the business. I understand your customers. I've actually dealt cards to your customers. And so there's a ton of startups out there. People who are maybe like, they're going to do, they're working on an online casino. And they're going to be like, what? You were in that industry? You really understand that industry? You really understand the customers? You really know what they want, what they need? You're going to say yes. And then they're going to say, all right, we're interested. We'll actually bring you in for an interview. So the industry you're in now is kind of your superpower because you've been super close to the customer, and it's a big deal for anyone involved in software development. You need to understand your customer.
Yep,
So
there
that's
are
it.
a ton of gambling sites out there.
There you go.
There's so many like apps and casino sites, online casino sites. There's plenty of development in that space going on.
I want to make sure that we answer that one. Can my daughter sign up at 17 years old with me? So it's well, our boot camps are for adults 18 years and older, but I mean 17. When is she turning 18? That will be my question. Um, and if she's graduating, actually, yeah, we can't actually host people that are not 18 years old. I'll leave it at that. And this one is great. Yes. Oh God, cat sold. That's a great one.
Good.
All right. What did we miss? We only have 1 minute. I guess we missed saying goodbye, right?
Ah, if we missed you, schedule a call with us
There
or
you go.
send us an email, and keep those questions coming on Facebook, and we'll try our best um, to answer them or Mostly by email, I guess, huh, Ludo?
Yes, probably. Or online. I mean, you have a chat, and sometimes you'll get the pleasure to talk to Zendra. If you go to our website, you'll see her
Forgot
thumbnail.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. Our avatar showing up. So yeah, we can continue the conversation that way as well. All right, Zendra, as always, it's been a pleasure. I'm jealous of you sitting outside and feeling the warmth. Bye bye, everyone.
See
Looking
the
forward to
sweater.
seeing you online on Slack. Take
Later,
care.
Ludo. Take care.